contain some of the normal
it's me.
words that we use today.
Okay, so we're not going to need that right now.
Okay.
But would you mind turning the lights on, please?
We're talking with the guy who just spoke with Foothill, and he was in Dubai. He's giving a message. He came from the bottom. Now he's got a bunch of companies.
Okay, welcome everyone. Let's see, I recognize you. I recognize Bill behind you. A couple weeks ago, we did the skit, right? In the other room. Anyone else? Is anyone else doing that? What's your troop called? Justice. Right. Right. Okay.
Okay, guys, your attention up here, please. All your phones are off. Your headphones are out, please.
Okay, so here's our goal. My goal is to give you some information that you will remember for the rest of your life. Hopefully at least 30 years. Today, or yesterday, was a Kitty Hawk moment. What's that?
We'll find out.
What's Kitty Hawk?
Coming back.
Thank you.
Kitty Hawk? Kitty Hawk, anybody? Anybody know Kitty Hawk? Okay, Kitty Hawk is the place that the Wright brothers took flight for the first time in the history of the world. Unmanned, or heavier than air, manned flight occurred at Kitty Hawk, I think, North Carolina. So, kind of in the business world, they'll say this was the Kitty Hawk moment. Life changed after that for the better. Yesterday was the Kitty Hawk moment. What happened? In the whole world. What happened? Yeah, but what was it that caused life to change? Okay, but you're right, life did change. And the interesting thing is it changed here, actually North Las Vegas. It changed here, but it's going to change everything for the rest of our lives. Anybody see anything in the newspaper? Okay, so when Nolan gets here, he'll say, why not? Why didn't you see it on the news? This is something that occurred yesterday that is the start of something that is going to change everything.
Is it the train?
What train?
That goes like 700 miles.
Okay, what's that called? Exactly right. What's that called? What's that called? It's not really a train, but it goes on the train tracks. It's called Hyperloop. Anybody hear of the Hyperloop? You heard of it?
Like a magnetic train.
It's like a magnetic train, but you ride in pods. It's like 6 or 8 people in a little pod, and it's in a vacuum tube. It's in a tube that has most of the air removed, so there's not a lot of what?
Friction.
Friction, right, not a lot of friction. So this thing yesterday went from 0 to 116 miles an hour in 1.1 seconds. And it's going to go 700 miles an hour, which means what? Where could you live?
Anywhere.
Where could, well, on the moon? No, not on the moon. If you could live in San Francisco and commute to LA in 30 minutes. You could live in Montana and commute to work in an hour. And guess what? In 20 years, that's what's going to be happening. Yesterday was the first public test of this Hyperloop device. So Nolan could be joining us anytime. So I'm going to leave this on when he joins. We'll turn the lights on. Today, this is something in UCLA called Beehive. So Beehive is an entrepreneurial contest between students at USC and UCLA to pitch their ideas, kind of like Shark Tank. Anybody know Shark Tank? Okay, so Beehive is like that, but it was between USC and UCLA, and we had some scheduling conflicts with Nolan. So, but with technology, he can be here. So when he joins, we'll turn the lights off. It will be live, and you can ask him questions. But the significant thing is, let's go back for a second and start thinking about that Hyperloop. And it's going to happen in 10 years. In our lifetimes, it's going to be normal. And what will happen is you'll drive to the Hyperloop station, and you'll get in one of these pods, 4 to 6, 8 people, and boom, you'll go, and you'll get up to speeds of Mach 2. What's Mach 2? Mach 2. So it's twice the speed of sound. Now the cool thing about it is the first half of the trip it's going to be accelerated. The second half, it's going to what? Decelerate. What happens when you decelerate? What's created? Friction. Who said that? Friction's created. So what can you use that friction to do? So what? Keep going. Mind meld. Charge the batteries. You can recharge the batteries. So this thing will cost almost nothing to operate because it's electric, it's levitating, so there's not a lot of friction. But when you slow down, because you've got to go from Mach 2 to 0, right? Or however fast you're going, you have to go from Mach 2 to 0. That's going to recharge the batteries. Okay, so now let's take our mental experiment one more step. You're sitting in the Hyperloop pod. What are you going to see? What do you think you're going to see? No. Okay, what do you think you're going to see?
Nothing.
Huh?
All black.
Okay, how about you?
I don't think you'll see anything.
All right, why not?
Did you go too fast?
Okay, so you wouldn't even be able to see the moon
Yeah.
if it's over there. Huh?
Like
Okay. Who else? Don't worry, it's okay. What are you going to see? What are you going to see from inside the pod? Nothing. No. You're going to be able to see whatever you want to see because the inside is all going to be video screens. So if you want to program it that you're in a stagecoach in the Wild Wild West and everything around you is the Wild Wild West, that's what you're going to see. If you want to be under the ocean, flying to the moon, having a chase, cops behind you, that's what you're going to be able to see. So what does that mean for people who are going to do programming? More jobs, yeah. Whoever has a good imagination is going to rule the world. And you know what I saw when I was here a couple weeks ago was a lot of people that have a lot of good imaginations. Because it kind of takes imagination to do what you guys were doing in there. And you know, Ms. Williams gets a lot of credit for encouraging that. Yeah, but that's what the world is going to belong to in the future. Learn how to code, and you can do this. And there's going to be no limit to what people are going to be watching. Are there a lot of channels on TV? How many? A million? It seems like a million to me. Hulu, Netflix, Amazon Prime, CenturyLink, Cox. Well, guess what? There's going to be 20 million times more of that of different things that you could be doing in your Hyperloop pod going someplace. You want to learn about something, you want to learn a language, you want to ride around the pyramids in Egypt, guess what you can do? Want to go back in time? Guess what? That's what you can do. That's just one little thing that's going to be happening in the next 10 years. What's another big change that's happening? It is happening.
We're getting a new president.
Technology.
They landed that rocket.
Okay. Okay. The technology that's going to change our lives. Let me give you a hint. Google. My ego's not strong enough to read that. What's another piece of technology? If I say Google, what's something that Google's doing?
The glasses.
Okay, that kind of got put on the side for a second, but yeah. How about self-driving cars?
Yeah.
What's going to change when cars drive? What's going to change? Well,
No taxis.
okay, so who's good at math here? Anybody good at math?
Okay,
Okay, well, I'll make it really simple. How many hours, if you drive your car 50 miles a day, How many hours a day is your car used? Take a guess. Huh?
Is that again? Is that
If you drive your car 50 miles a day, how many hours is your car used? Just take a guess.
2?
2, okay, 2. What's another guess? 1, you're driving 50 miles an hour, right? If you're driving 50 miles an hour, you get on the freeway. How long is it going to take you to drive 50 miles? Yeah,
Oh, I think that like there.
no, just 50 miles. Your car's used 1 hour a day. What happens to your car the rest of the day?
Just sits there.
Right, that's a big problem. And if you look in like Las Vegas, anybody notice any parking garages
Yeah.
in the casinos?
Yeah.
Or just driving on the freeway? Where's the freeway from here?
That way.
That way?
Yeah.
95,
That way.
515. Okay,
I think
so your car is the typical person car just sits there for an hour a day. What if, sits there for 23 hours a day. Now, what if you had an app on your phone that somebody said, hey, can I rent your car for an hour a day because there's little old ladies at this nursing home that need to go get their hair done, they want to go play bridge and stuff like that. We'll pay you $200 a month. Anybody in here do that?
No.
Why not? You don't need to trust them. The car's going to drive itself.
How do you trust the car? Yeah, but what if
Huh?
I try to walk my own
Okay, do you worry about your phone when you dial a number? Do you worry that maybe it's going to call someone else?
every day?
You do? Okay. You really don't need to worry about that. If you put in a number, that's where your phone's going to go. It's not going to do something else. But here's the thing. In the future, there's going to be apps that say, hey, we'll rent your car for $200 a month because we want to take little old ladies from where they live to go get their hair done or to play bridge or just go see their friends. And most people will say, wow, I'm going to get the gas paid plus $200 a month? What would you do with that money? Okay, go ahead, ask. Yeah.
Sorry, but like, how does okay, so you have to register your car and you have to like pay insurance and stuff. How does that go under? Because what if somebody like decides to like, oh well, yeah, I'm gonna take these old ladies to go get their hair done, but really they go rob the store and then it's under your name, and then they
So good question. So let's go back.
Do you program it to tell it where to go first? Is that what you're saying?
You, first of all, your car is going to know everywhere it's going. And if it's programmed to pick up these little old ladies, guess what it's going to do? Pick up the little old ladies, because they have to be able to identify who they are, because yeah, it doesn't work if somebody does an app on their phone and says, I'm a little old lady, but really I'm not. I'm going to go rob the bank. Yeah, so that's a good question. Those are problems that will be solved, but that won't happen. That won't happen.
Scanning your face.
There's a lot of things that it can do. Retina, fingerprints, voice, a lot of things. But let's just say, let's not say, well, somebody's going to cheat it. Lex Luthor is going to figure out how to subvert the system. Let's just say the system works. Okay? Would you rent your car out for a couple hours a day for $200 a month?
No.
No. Yeah.
Okay, would you do it for $300?
No.
$400?
No. Or you just tell them it's no. Gonna keep going up.
Okay,
Yeah, but I-
so you won't do it, but somebody in here
I
will
would
do
do
it.
it for $1,000.
And somebody in here will do it. Now, let's say you get $300. What would you do with the extra $300? Okay, what would you do? Go shopping?
I'll do that. I love it.
Okay, some people would say, I'm going to buy a nicer car because half of my car payment, now I can get a $600 a month car because half of it will be paid by this app, by people using my car. Now, let's say your car needs gas. You get in your car in the morning, you go to work, your car needs gas. What happens in the future? It's what? Let's say it's gas.
Someone else pays it.
No, your car is going to drive to the gas station.
By itself.
Yeah, it's a self-driving car.
But how does she have it?
There will be a guy standing there It all he does is do this.
So, oh, you can do that yourself.
You can, but here's the idea about really successful people, like let's say attorneys that make $400 an hour. How much is that? Let's say they made $300 an hour, simple math. How much is that per minute? What's 300 divided by 6? What's 30 divided by 6? $5 a minute. Attorney that's getting $300 an hour isn't really a good attorney. $5 a minute. Do you think an attorney is going to want to spend 10 minutes going to a gas station, putting gas in his car?
Oh, well, then now he's just complaining because of that. Like,
No, it's not complaining. He says time is money.
no.
If I can pay somebody, to fill up my car for $5, why would I want to, and I could be making $50, why wouldn't I do that?
You guys, if I'm making $100 an hour and just being around you guys, and I can pay my sub $50 an hour, but I'm getting paid $100 an hour, my sub's in here and I can leave and I'm still up. You know, come on.
Yeah.
That's
No,
what I'm talking about.
I get it. It's just kind of sad that we have to like resort to those things.
Okay, so good point. Now that's a good point. How many people agree with that?
Just
Okay, so how many people would rather spend $300 for a pair of shoes versus $50 for the exact same shoe?
I will never do that.
Huh?
$10.
Who would rather pay, it's the exact same shoe. Same shoe. Who would rather pay $300 or $50? 300.
The quality the same.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. 300.
Same shoe. Why is one 300 then?
Huh?
I don't get it.
Because if it's made in China, where people get paid $3 a day, and in orphanage, in quotes.
Obama just signed a law that there's no more slave labor. We're not bringing in any of those goods. Signed it this last week.
So that's why I said orphanage. Okay, so if you're getting $3 a day, because you're in an orphanage, you can make a shoe and sell it for $50. If you're a person here and you're getting $20 an hour, because that's what it costs with everything on top, health insurance, everything else, the shoe costs $300. And the reason 80% of the things sold at Walmart are made in China is because it's cheaper. And who's the largest retailer in the world? Walmart, okay? That's how we really are. We say we don't want to do that, but really, we do. We do that. So that's a thing to think about in the future. So Hyperloop, right? Going to change everything. Self-driving cars, we're going to change everything. You're not going to have to go to the grocery store. You're not going to have to go to the drive-thru. Your car is not going to get in a wreck. Insurance is going to be really cheap because these things have multiple cameras on them and they're able to process 100 times a second. So they can drive this close to the car in front of them. And they never do what we do.
They never get in a crash.
No, not on their own. They'll get in a crash if somebody jumps in front of them. But not on their own because they have 7 cameras and they're processing 100 times a second. So what do? Here's my favorite thing. Texting, having a hamburger, listening to music and talking to somebody next to you. Guess what self-driving cars can do? They don't do all that.
So technically you could text and drive and it'd be illegal.
Yeah, in the future. In California, the state of California the Federal Transportation Commission recognized a computer system is now classified as a driver. So this is all going to happen in the very near future. Okay, let's talk about a third thing that's going to change life as we know it. Drones. Okay, what's going to happen with drones? Okay,
Make deliveries.
they're going to, exactly.
Amazon.
Drones are going to make deliveries. And I'll just give you the numbers quickly. Won't make you do the math. A good drone, a delivery drone costs $1,500 today. It's going to be cheaper in the future when it's made in China by orphans. Just kidding. It's going to cost $1,500. It's going to cost less, but it's going to be better, so it's going to be $1,500. And let's say over the life of the drone, you're going to spend $1,500 adding propellers and little plastic gizmos to play. So it's going to cost you $3,000 for this drone. And over the life of that drone, it's going to fly 10 flights a day. It's just going to deliver 10 packages a day. And over the life of the drone, it's going to make 30,000 deliveries. And that works out to be 10 cents a delivery. How much do you think it costs for FedEx to deliver a package? How about the post office? How much does it cost if you want to send a package by FedEx? Okay, yeah.
But that's somebody else's job, so what's gonna happen when they get replaced by drones? Are they gonna get unemployed and they don't really have anything else to do?
Okay, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that. Good question. That's right. We're gonna get to that. Okay, so what do we see in the sky now with drones? How many people have seen a drone flying around? Okay, a few people. When I was growing up in the Bay Area, California, is where I grew up. Anybody from California? Anybody from Oakland? Southern California? Do you call it Cali? Cali? Is that what you call it? Cali? Okay. So I grew up in the Bay Area. And when I was a kid, if an airplane flew across the sky, people would come out and say, look, there's an airplane, a jet, because they were not common. You can't look out in the sky here and not see a jet if you're trying to find one. Yeah, you can be standing at the airport looking the opposite direction, you won't see them. But if you turned around here, you can't not see a jet. Has anybody ever counted how many planes they can see coming in at night?
I can do seconds. Like 4.
Huh?
Oh, I see a lot more than that.
It's like I've been able to see like 7 sets of lights coming in, and that's just because I can't see further than that. Yeah, I mean it's too far away. In the future, it's going to be very common just to see streams of drones delivering packages, leaving the Amazon and other depot centers, and just see a line in the sky at about 500 feet, 400 feet, just delivering packages all over. And these things have a range of 30 minutes. That's all they can fly today with today's batteries. What was the Pony Express? Pony Express?
Post price service.
Okay, how did it work? No, close. I'll give you a hint. Pony,
Yeah.
Yeah, carriage attached to a board.
no. How did the Pony Express work?
Wasn't it like a guy who had to like?
I used to do this when I was a kid. Huh?
Wasn't
Huh?
it a guy that
What?
rode a horse from town to town? Like,
Yeah, so it was like a relay. You ride a horse as fast as you could for 5 or 10 miles. And then you get to a place and there'd be another horse. You jump off the horse, they grab the bags, they put it on the next horse, and you just keep going. It only lasted for a few years because the railroad came right after that and telegraph. But the idea of the Pony Express was you can get a package delivered very fast compared to the alternative because the guy's just doing it. Well, the same thing will happen with drones. So if you want to deliver a package 100 miles, this drone is going to take it 30 minutes. And it's going to drop the package. The next drone's just automatically going to pick it up, barcode, whatever, grab it, and fly off and take it. So package delivery in the future is going to be wherever your cell phone is. The package will be delivered to you. You don't have to go to the package. Houses are going to be designed to have a Sally door. What's a Sally door? What's a Sally door?
Let Sally in.
Huh?
I have something.
Okay, so a Sally door is a thing that has 2 doors. So you see them in places where this door opens, you go inside, it closes. When this door is closed, then you can open the other door.
Oh, I'm used to calling it a screen gate.
Okay, screen gate. So it's called a Sally door, and they use them a lot in prisons and places where you want to control people. So houses will be designed with the Sally door. So the drone will do what? The drone will drop the package into your Sally door. So it's not coming into your house. It's not leaving it out on your porch. It's not putting it in a box out on the street. It's going to put it in your house. You pull in through your garage. You come in your house and you take your package out from the inside. That's how houses are going to be designed in the future, because that's how common it's going to be. Half of the jobs, so now we get to you. What is your name?
Kaylin?
Kaylin? Okay, so now we get to Kaylin's question that has to do with what happens to all the people losing their jobs. Well, we already figured out a lot of people can be writing code for what you're going to be watching when you're in the Hyperloop, right? Right? It's on your screen. A lot of people are going to be producing movies and things for that. But you know, the other thing is people are going to be designing houses. People are going to be getting packages. We are doing a project to, it's a thing called Shop With Me. It's a new type of store. It's made out of storage containers. This is kind of, anybody know who Tony Shea is? Everybody ever hear of Zappos? Yeah. So, anyway, it's made with containers, and it's a 24-hour store. You can't get in without your smartphone. But when you get in there,
I heard about that.
okay, good.
So it's where you, no one runs it, but if you walk in with your phone and you like scan everything.
Exactly. And they had one downtown a couple years ago, and we worked with the company called With Me, Tony Shea. Well, what we are doing is we're working with the Italian government to have Italian manufacturers who are small manufacturers that want to sell stuff in the United States to put their few samples into these stores, and people can go buy it. And what does it cost you if you're a manufacturer in Italy? What do you think? Would you pay $100 if you, let's say you made Italian shaving cream? Anybody else in here Italian? Okay, okay. So Italian shaving cream. Guy makes shaving cream in Italy, wants to sell it in the United States. He knows that the 20 million people who say they're Italian American would say, hey, that's cool. I want to buy Italian shaving cream. I don't care if it costs $2 more, but I can't get it at Walmart, and I can't get it anywhere. Oh, but I can go get it at the Shop With Me store? So we're working with the Italian government to find these small manufacturers who can't really sell large quantities that want to have specialized stores. So now if you take the ability to deliver products anywhere for like 10 cents to wherever people are, and you can have them ship long distances at 700 miles an hour, what can people do that are clever? Pretty much anything you can think of. You can go to places and sell all kinds of stuff. Okay, let's do another mental thing. Hopefully no one's going soon. Okay, another mental thing. 100 years ago, 100% of the beer, well, let's say in the year 1900. In the year 1900, 100% of the beer that was delivered to taverns and restaurants was delivered by what?
Trucks.
No, not trucks. People? Like they carry these big barrels around? Huh? Giraffes? Oh,
Oh, you said that.
yeah,
Oh.
in 1900. How was beer delivered? Horse-drawn wagons, right? Was anybody around here then? Just me? Nobody remembers those days?
No.
Seriously? Okay. So, in the year 1900, 100% of the beer delivered to restaurants was delivered by horse-drawn wagons. By 1920, What percentage of the beer was delivered by horse-drawn wagons? 0, right? 0. Now let's say in the year 1900, you said, I just graduated from truck mechanic school, engine repair school. And you went to one of these beer companies that had horse-drawn wagons and you wanted to get a job. What would they say? Yeah, we don't need you. We don't need that. Who was an important guy at that company? The horse what?
The one who like directly the horse.
The guy who drove the wagon?
Yeah.
Okay. And who was his boss? The guy who what?
Who owns the horses and wagons?
Well, him, but the guy who was responsible for making sure that the horses were fed, and, the boss, the horse guy boss, whatever his position was, the supervisor. That had to make sure the horses were healthy and they were fed and they were taken care of. He had an important job. What do you think happened to him by the year 1920? What was his job? He had no job, right? Now let's say you wanted to go work for that company. They put an ad in the paper that said, we need somebody to drive our horse-drawn wagons. And you said, well, I just graduated from, here's my certificate. I just got out of DeVry engine repair. I'm a mechanic. Do you think they'd hire you? No. Why? Yeah, because you don't know how to drive horses. Okay? Now, let's say the company just decided we're going to buy a truck. Who becomes important? The mechanic guy. Did it matter that he just got his degree one day ago? No. That's where all of you guys are today. Relative to the future with the Hyperloop, relative to self-driving cars, relative to drones. The people who have experience doing other stuff, they don't have an advantage. The people who don't think that way have the advantage. The people who can put themselves in a Hyperloop pod and say, what would be cool? What would I want to experience? And go out and create it. Those people are going to make a lot of money in the future. The people who say, I can't imagine what you would see looking out from the inside of the Hyperloop. Those people are like the guys who used to drive the wagons, the horse-drawn wagons. So you have a big opportunity here to take your imagination and your enthusiasm and channel it into what the future is going to be. Because half of the jobs that will exist 20 years from now do not exist today. So what advantage do people have over you? Nobody has experience. What advantage does anybody have? Right? They have no advantage. In fact, a lot of people have a disadvantage. So my day job is to teach at a post-secondary school. What's post-secondary? Right. Anybody else know? So who's seniors in here? Okay. So post-secondary would be where you would go to school next year. Anybody going to college next year? Okay. Anybody going out of state? Where are you going?
Northern State.
Okay. How about you?
Oh, no, I'm not going to college.
Oh, who raised their hands so you're going out of state? Oh, you just meant you're going out of
Yeah.
state? Okay, cool. All right. Cool. Okay. So, half the jobs that are going to exist in the future do not exist today. My job during the day is I teach at a post-secondary school. So it's a school after high school. But our school is a little bit different than the school you're going to go to, and hopefully anybody else is going to go to, because I teach at a school that's inside of a prison. Anybody ever hear of Southern Desert? Casa Grande?
Yeah.
Do you know someone named Mr. Hunter?
Yeah, just met him outside. He's at High Desert. Okay. So we are going to be opening a school in July in Clark County Detention Center. You know how many people go through Clark County Detention Center in a year? Anybody know how many people are in prison in Nevada? A lot, that's right, 16,000. About 5,000 people get out of prison every year. Clark County Detention Center, what would you think? More people in prison or jail? Jail. Why would you say that? I always thought it was prison, but it's jail. 66,000 people are going to go through the Clark County Detention Center downtown this year at a cost of over $100 a day. They just get arrested. And the people that go there?
Yeah.
Well, the cop, okay, that's a great question. Here's how they decide how many jail cells they need and how many prison cells they need. They go back, they look at what is the reading level of people in the 3rd grade.
Are you serious?
Because if you fall off in the 3rd grade, you're not going to catch up. Probably, statistically, you're not going to catch up. So they do numbers to see, okay, what percentage of people are not proficient in the 3rd grade at reading? And then they, how old are you in the 3rd grade?
No. 10.
8 or 9. So then they project out 10 years and say, this is the number of people who are prime candidates to get arrested because they're not going to be able to do what? Huh? And because you can't read, then what? And because you have no skills, what? You're not going to get a good job. Okay? And so that's how.
job makes you go to jail?
Well,
You have that much time.
so for anybody else that didn't know, the #1 way to end up in jail is to take drugs, marijuana. 100% of the people in jail use drugs. Okay. When they book people, virtually 100% have drugs in their system. And almost everybody has marijuana. Nobody at the prison says marijuana is a gateway drug. Just because you smoke marijuana, it doesn't mean you're going to go up to meth or heroin. But it just so happens that the people that are in prison that are on heroin and meth also smoke marijuana. So the #1 way to go to jail is take drugs. Because what happens is if you don't have skills and you can't get a job, but you like drugs, what are you going to do? Yeah. And what happens if you steal eventually? You get caught because you get sloppy and lazy and you do things, you get desperate, and you need more drugs, and it gets harder and harder, and this whole thing starts, and it's really bad. And at the school where I teach, virtually 100% of people say, when asked the question, should marijuana be legalized, they say, of course it should be legalized. And why should it be legalized?
It's profitable.
Okay, well, that's true, but forget about that. It's profitable for the people who sell it, not really for the people who smoke
It
it.
lowers crime rates due to not being able
So
to
that's what people
buy
say, because people are more mellow, right? Right? But here's what it turns out, is that if we didn't have people not becoming mellow when they got stressed, if the attitude was, I'm stressed, but I'm going to break through it, things get done, inventions get made. What's the story of Thomas Edison with the light bulb? Okay, what was the story? It took him about 3,000 tries before he got the light bulb to work. Because the filament, that little thing that glows, yeah, it's a wire now, but it would burn out. And they would try thicker stuff and stronger stuff, this stuff and that stuff, and we'll coat it with this and we'll do this. And he did 3,000 times. And every time it didn't work, instead of saying, oh, can somebody light up the joint? What did Thomas Edison say? He said, well, we just discovered another way that doesn't work. If we keep going, eventually we're going to figure it out. Yeah.
Okay, that's just the same way as alcohol and cigarettes and food, because when people get stressed out, they overeat, or they oversmoke, or they overdrink, or they overwatch TV,
Okay,
or they
but
just
there's a
shut down.
difference. You're right, but there's a difference. You're right, there's a difference.
How is that different?
When a lot of people drink, they don't get mellow, they get aggressive.
Some people get mellow when they drink.
And I didn't say no people, I said some people. Right? Some
Right.
people, when they drink, they get aggressive. And they get more determined they're gonna make something happen, and they can get reckless and bad things can happen. I'm not saying alcohol is good. What I'm saying is, Thomas Edison discovered how to create a light bulb because he didn't give up. Because when he had adversity, he figured it out. And what was the simple solution looking back? What does it take to light a fire? What are the three things?
Oxygen.
Ding, ding, ding. What? Heat and fuel, right? So what happens if you have a candle and you put a jar over the top? Why? Why does the flame go out? No oxygen. So Thomas Edison ultimately discovered, hey, all we have to do is take the oxygen out of a light bulb, so there won't be a flame, it won't get too hot, the filament will never burn out, and poof, we got it. But it took him 3,000 different ways of trying it before he figured it out. Okay? So anyway, at the school where I work, we have people who didn't get an education. They functioned at about a third grade reading, writing, and math level. Because we give them a task and they do it. After they get out, and so our students are in prison, or they live at Catholic Charities, Salvation Army, Women's Shelter, Veterans, Homeless Shelter. They live there, and our school is the school of last hope. Because if you're 30 years old and you have a third grade reading level, where do you think you're going to go to learn to read? Okay. The adult basic education schools here teach you what? What do they teach? High school diploma. They do that. They're not designed for job placements. Post-secondary schools, like vocational schools, they teach you how to get a job. That's what we do. And our students have ended up for 2 years in a row having the highest placement rate of any post-secondary school in Nevada, period. Toro, UNLV, CSN, Phoenix. And you know why? Because they got, this is the last chance. Not because our school is good, but it is good, but that's not the reason why. The reason why is because they got, this is the last chance, and you know what? I would like to be able to go buy a pair of sunglasses. I'd like to go be able to buy a pair of sunglasses just because I felt like it. I'd like to be able to take my kids out to dinner just because I feel like it. And you have to have a job to be able to do that. But to get a good job, you have to have certain skills. And so, you know, what Nolan was going to talk about is his next venture called Snap. And how much time do we have?
4 minutes.
Good. Okay. So Nolan invented a game called Pong, which we had on. That wasn't really the big thing, because what was there before Pong? What was the games before Pong? What kind of games were there?
Play outside.
Yeah,
Electronic games.
hoop and stick. And
Electronic games. You had flippers.
Pinball.
Pinball. Okay? He invented something that the thing before it was a pinball machine. And all he wanted to do was be a game designer. And the game design, the pinball company said, no, it'll never work. Nobody's ever been able to do it. People are going to steal the televisions out of that thing. He put it in a location, spent his money, worked many years, came up with a prototype, put it on a location. 4 days later, they called him up and said, it's broken. And he thought, uh-oh, this is it. All this time, all this energy I spent went to Utah State, got my degree in engineering, working in Silicon Valley, National Semiconductor, over with. He went out there, he opened it up, and he found out that there were so many quarters in the cash box that you couldn't drop any more quarters in the slot. And he said, oh, wow, we're going to be rich. And then he said, oh, wow, we just showed the pinball guys how to, we showed them the future. And if we can't keep up, if we can't manufacture games faster than anyone else, we won't be here. So he started a company called Atari. And Atari mission was, we have to make games faster than our competitors can copy our games. And then When he got in that business, he said, I want to make money off these video games because when I sell them for $2,000, the guy that buys them from me puts it out on location. He makes $20,000. So we decided, let's operate these. And he said, well, what can we do? Let's have an adult, a family amusement park. Let's have games, we'll have robots, we'll have things, and that was what? Chuck E. Cheese. And the key thing about Chuck E. Cheese that Nolan did, had no experience in the restaurant business, but they opened 600 restaurants in 2 years. So the thing that Nolan would say is anybody in here can do that. You're lucky that you have a principal here who really believes in you guys and gives you the, and your instructor. She's not chocolate.
One thing that I want you to address
Yeah.
though, is these guys are not gonna have like $20,000, $30,000 to start something.
Perfect thing.
How
So
do they?
here's what Nolan would say. Go to your next door neighbors, go to your neighbors in your neighborhood and say, you know what? Let's go through your house. I'll sell the stuff for you on eBay and we'll split the money.
Just like that.
Yeah. Just go to your neighbor, knock on the door and say, hey, you've got a bunch of stuff you don't want. Let me sell it on eBay and we'll split the money.
He's giving you options where you have to figure out how you're gonna
Here's
come up with
another
some
one.
money.
Here's another one. Knock on your neighbor's door and you say, for $5 a month, I'll take your garbage can out and bring it in every week. How long will that take to do? Not a lot. I know where I live, which is just over by the Bob Miller Middle School. Everybody in my block would say, sure, I don't want to have to deal with garbage cans every week. $5 a month?
Guys, it's just supply and demand. I
Here's
know
another
somebody
one.
put in.
Here's another one. Okay, those don't cost you. Here's another one. Dog walk. Go to a place where people have dogs that they walk. Hey, I'll walk your dog for $10 an hour. But then you go get 9 other dogs. How much are you making per hour?
And I just wanna say real quick, because I know the vote's gonna be, at Basic High School, how many of those kids that, I mean, just for our shirts, our youth example shirts, the kids went to Basic High School, or grads from there. We try to hire them whenever we can. Don't you have a guy that owns one of that, what's that pizza place in Basic, in Henderson?
Johnny Max.
Johnny Max, he was from Basic High School. Guy from Green Valley High School
You
started
try to
the whole,
support your own.
the whole
You know what I mean?
CSI stuff.
Like if you guys had a company, I would try to use you for the associate I need, just because hey, they're my students, I'll try to help you out.
Learn. Okay, so Nolan would say there's a piece of software called Unity. Go find Unity. Do a Google search, Unity. It will teach you in 30 days, you'll be able to create an app that you can then sell. That's how easy it is. I know everybody in here can do that. And I say that because I know the students that we have at the school where I work. And if they can do it, you can do it. You have a lot more advantages than they have. And these people are turning the lights on. So I apologize if no
Come
one
up
wants
with
to.
an idea.
And have a
That's what you're good
passion.
at.
And have a passion.
Have passion. You have to have passion. So no one would say the number one thing to be a successful entrepreneur is to be passionate about what you do. Don't give up. If you go to get money from a venture capitalist, one of the first 3 questions they're going to ask is, what business did you fail at last? Why? Why would they ask you, what did you fail at? What would you say? No, not Kate. What would you say? Why would a venture capitalist say, well, what business did you fail at last? Because they want to know how you act when you have failure. Are you going to be, I quit? Or are you going to say, like Thomas Edison, that's just one other way that didn't work? Okay, anyway, thank you. There's a couple things up on the board there. If you go to those sites and look at that, no one's giving away scholarships to SNAP. It's a non-school school. That includes jobs. So everybody gets a $10 an hour, 30-hour a week job while you're in school. You learn accounting, business law, finance, technology, marketing, media in the future. So anyway, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk to you today. Think about the Hyperloop. Think about drones. Think about self-driving cars, because that's the future that we're all going to be living in.
Thanks for being a good audience.